Hello boys and girls, and welcome to story time today. Today is Wednesday and today we are going to read Mr. Bounce. Mr. Bounce was very small and like a rubber ball. He just couldn't keep himself on the ground. He bounced all over the place. And as you can imagine, that made things rather difficult. He's bouncing right over a flower and his hat has fallen off. Last week, for instance, Mr. Bounce was out walking when he came to a farm. He climbed over the farm gate, and can you guess what happened next? He jumped down from the gate and bounced right into the duck pond. Bounce went Mr. Bounce. Splash went Mr. Bounce. Quack went the ducks. Look, where are the ducks? I think when he jumped in, all the ducks came out. The other morning, for instance, Mr. Bounce was in bed. He woke up and jumped out of bed, and you can guess what happened next, can't you? He bounced right out of his bedroom door and all the way downstairs. Bounce, 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 bounce. That happens quite often, which probably explains why Mr. Bounce leaves his bedroom door open every night. After he had picked himself up, Mr. Bounce went into his living room and sat down to think. Bounce. Mr. Bounce bounced off the chair and banged his head on the ceiling. Bang went Mr. Bounce's head on the ceiling. Ouch, said Mr. Bounce. That must have been very sore. This is ridiculous, Mr. Bounce thought to himself, rubbing his head. I must do something to stop all of this bouncing about. He thought and thought. I know, he thought. I'll go and see the doctor. So after breakfast, Mr. Bounce set off to the nearest town to see the doctor. He was passing a tennis court when he tripped over a pebble. Bounce, he bounced, and he bounced right onto the court where two children were playing tennis. And you can guess what happened next, can't you? I think they thought he was a tennis ball and they hit him. The children didn't realise that Mr. Bounce wasn't a tennis ball and started hitting him with their tennis rackets backwards and forwards over the net. Bounce, ooh, bounce, eek, bounce, ouch. Poor Mr. Bounce. Eventually, one of the children hit Mr. Bounce so hard that he bounced right out of the tennis court. Mr. Bounce bounced off down the road towards the town. Oh dear, he said, feeling very sorry for himself. I've been bounced black and blue. Oh, he's so sad. A bus was coming along the road, and Mr. Bounce decided that the safest place for him to be would be on it. He got on and sat down, still feeling more than a little sorry for himself. The bus drove into town. It's a red bus. What colour are the buses that we see on the road? They're yellow and blue, aren't they? They are. Have a look the next time you see one passing by. The bus stopped right outside the doctor's. Mr. Bounce stepped down from the bus. And you can guess what happened next, can't you? He didn't step down onto the pavement outside the doctor's. Oh no, not Mr. Bounce. He stepped off the bus and onto the pavement and bounced in through the doctor's window. Dr. Makewell was sitting at his desk enjoying his mid-morning cup of coffee. Mr. Bounce sailed through the open window and landed. Can you guess where he landed? Oh no, in his coffee, is it? That's right, splash into his coffee. Ouch, squeaked Mr. Bounce, The coffee was rather hot. Good heavens, exclaimed Dr. Makewell. Oh, look, poor Mr. Bounce is in the coffee. After the doctor had fished Mr. Bounce out of his coffee and sat him down on some blotting paper to dry out, he listened to what Mr. Bounce had to tell him. So you see, said Mr. Bounce finally, you must give me something to stop me bouncing about all over the place quite so much. Said the doctor, pondering. I wonder what the doctor will give him. After some thought, Dr. Makewell went to his medicine cabinet and took out a tiny pair of red boots. These should do the trick, he told Mr. Bounce. Heavy boots, that should stop the bouncing. What a clever idea. Oh, thank you, Dr. Makewell, said Mr. Bounce, and he walked home wearing his red boots. Not bounced, walked. What a great idea. That night, Mr. Bounce went straight to bed wearing his heavy boots, and he went to sleep. He looks delighted with himself. The following morning he woke up and yawned and stretched and bounced out of bed. And can you guess what happened next? No, he didn't bounce down the stairs. What did he do? He went straight through the bedroom floorboards and finished up in the kitchen. His shoes were so heavy he fell from upstairs through the floor to downstairs. Now, boys and girls, our song today is 5 Monkeys Jumping on the Bed. Are you ready? We'll count to 3 and then we'll start. 1, 2, 3. 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mammy called the doctor and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. 4 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mammy called the doctor and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. 3 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mammy called the doctor and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. 2 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mammy called the doctor and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. 1 little monkey jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mammy called the doctor and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. Very good, boys and girls. You were so good at singing with me. Well done. That was a really fun story and song. And I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. I'll read another Mr. Men story and sing another song.